So what if I told you that you could get an AI to do pretty much any task you can think of, like right now, without writing a single line of code or giving it a single training example? I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not. It's the power of zero-shot prompting. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can master this super simple but totally game-changing technique.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get straight to what zero-shot actually means. Then, we're going to dissect what makes a perfect prompt tick. After that, we'll see how it stacks up against the other methods out there, give you a practical guide for writing your own, and finally, we'll figure out when it's the absolute best tool for the job.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1. What is zero-shot prompting? Let's get right into the core of what makes this whole thing feel kind of like magic.
I mean, this is the big question, right? It feels like it should be impossible. But the secret isn't some kind of magic trick. It's actually hidden in the trillions, literally trillions of data points these incredible language models have already been trained on.
And here is the official definition. Now, the key phrase you really need to remember here is no examples are provided. See, you're not actually training the AI, you're just accessing the training it already has. It's read a huge chunk of the internet, so it already gets concepts like summarize or translate or classify without you needing to show it how.
I love this analogy because it just captures the feeling perfectly. Zero-shot prompting is just like trying to toss a stone into a narrow bottle from a distance. You only get one shot. It requires real precision in your aim, but when your instruction is clear and well-aimed, the result feels just like this, a perfect, almost effortless success.
Okay, so if it's all about that one single instruction, that one perfect throw, how do we make sure it's a good one? Well, that brings us right to our second section, the anatomy of a prompt. We're going to break down the essential building blocks.
Think of it like a recipe. This slide gives us a really clear formula with 4 key ingredients. The instruction, well, that's your direct command, what you want it to do. The context is optional, but it really helps to narrow the AI's focus. The input is the raw material, the text or data you want it to work with, and the output cue, this is a clever little trick to nudge the AI into giving you the answer in the exact format you want.
And boom, this slide shows that recipe in action. It's brilliant. Classify the text, that's the instruction. I think the vacation is okay, that's our input. And that final word, sentiment, that's the clever output cue. It just primes the AI for the answer. And the result? Neutral. It's simple, it's clean, and it's just incredibly effective.
So zero-shot is fast, it's easy, but it's not always the best tool for every single job. To really understand where it fits in your toolkit, we have to compare it to the alternatives. Let's see how it stacks up. This table lays it all out, the crucial trade-offs. Zero-shot is your go-to for speed and convenience. Think summarizing an email on the fly. Few-shot is what you use when the task is a bit more nuanced. Just giving it 1 or 2 examples can dramatically improve its accuracy. And then there's fine-tuning. That's the industrial strength option. It's slow, it can be expensive, but it's absolutely necessary when you need a true expert model for a super specific, critical task like, say, medical diagnosis.
And now, for what's probably the most practical part of our whole explainer, how to craft the perfect prompt. This is where we move from theory into action, so you can take your AI conversations from just good to truly great.
Oh man, we've all been here. You ask a simple, really broad question like, tell me about renewable energy, and what do you get? A massive, unfocused wall of text. The problem is a total lack of constraint. You haven't given the AI any guardrails, so it just tries to tell you everything it knows, and you end up with information overload.
So, how do we fix that? Well, we follow an improvement flow. You start with a clear task, you give it some context, and you specify the output format you want, like a list or a table or bullet points. But honestly, the most important thing is to see it as a conversation. If the first answer isn't quite right, don't start over. Just iterate, tweak the prompt a little, and try again.
And just look at the difference. It's night and day. Instead of that vague, tell me about renewable energy, we ask, explain the 3 most common types of renewable energy, their benefits, and their challenges using bullet points. And suddenly, that foggy query becomes a structured, useful answer. We've gone from a general request to a precise, actionable result. Okay, so we know what it is, we know how to craft a good prompt, but when should we actually use it? That brings us to our final section, the pros and cons. Because like any tool, it's really powerful, but it's definitely not perfect. The pros are pretty obvious. It's incredibly fast, it's amazingly versatile, and you need 0 technical skill to use it. But the cons are really critical to understand.
It can lack the precision you need for really complex tasks, and it's very sensitive. I mean, sometimes changing a single word can totally alter the output. So think of it more like a creative brainstorming partner, not a high-stakes, super accurate fact-checker.
You know, this quote really just sums up the whole idea perfectly. It's all about tapping into this massive intelligence that's always on, always ready to go. You don't need a training manual, you don't need a syllabus, you just need a well-formed question.
And that's a wrap. We've covered the what, the why, and the how of zero-shot prompting. You basically have the key now to unlock a powerful new way of interacting with AI. The only thing left to do is to go and experiment. So the final question is, now that you have the key, what's the first thing you're going to ask?